Imagine this. It's the middle of harvest season. A combine breaks down, the clock is ticking, crops are ready, weather is shifting, and every hour of downtime costs thousands. But instead of pulling out tools and getting to work, the farmer stares helplessly at the machine, locked out by software. Repairs are only possible if John Deere says so. That's not a hypothetical, it's the daily reality for countless farmers across the country. Now, they're saying enough is enough. Across the Midwest and beyond, farmers are organizing, speaking out, and even boycotting John Deere, one of the most iconic names in American agriculture. So, what just happened? And why is this more than just a fight over tractors? Stick around, because this isn't just about broken machines. It's about broken trust, independence, and the future of farming. For generations, John Deere has been more than a brand. It's been a cultural icon. Its green and yellow machines are practically family members on American farms, symbols of strength, reliability, and tradition. Founded in 1837, Deere revolutionized farming with its innovative steel plow, and later became a household name in agricultural machinery. Families passed down John Deere tractors through generations, and for many farmers, owning a Deere was a point of pride. But in recent years, that relationship has soured. The admiration has turned to frustration. Many farmers now say the company they once trusted is putting profits over people, locking them out of the very equipment they bought and relied on. This emotional shift from loyalty to resentment is what makes this story so explosive. We're witnessing a seismic break in a relationship that helped build the backbone of rural America. At the heart of this uprising is a deceptively simple question. If you buy a machine, shouldn't you be able to fix it? For farmers, the answer is a resounding yes. But John Deere's newer tractors and combines are packed with proprietary software, complex diagnostic systems, and encrypted coding that restrict access to basic maintenance tools. Farmers can't even clear error codes without permission from an authorized Deere technician. Imagine needing a dealer's permission just to restart your computer. Except your computer is a $500,000 machine harvesting crops on a tight schedule. What used to be a quick fix in the barn now turns into a multi-day delay with costly service fees. This isn't just inconvenient, it's a threat to a farmer's livelihood. With razor-thin profit margins, unpredictable weather, and mounting operational costs, downtime can be financially devastating. The boycott isn't just about repairs, it's about control, autonomy, and survival. The John Deere controversy isn't happening in a vacuum. It's part of a larger global movement known as the right to repair. This movement fights for the rights of consumers, farmers, mechanics, even smartphone users, to access the tools, parts, and knowledge needed to fix their own equipment. Whether it's an iPhone, a Tesla, or a tractor, corporations are increasingly using software locks, digital rights management, DRM, and proprietary tech to restrict independent repairs. In agriculture, where downtime means lost income and lost crops, the stakes are incredibly high. Advocates argue that repairability is not just a consumer right, but a moral and economic necessity. Farmers want to be able to open their machines, diagnose issues, order parts, and fix them just like they did for decades. The movement is gaining momentum, with farmers testifying before Congress, filing lawsuits, and pushing for state-level legislation. And while some wins have been scored, like Colorado's recent right to repair bill for agricultural equipment, the battle is far from over. What's truly alarming is how this software control is creating a new kind of digital feudalism in agriculture. Think about it. Even if you pay cash for a tractor, you don't actually own the software inside it. That software remains the intellectual property of John Deere. Farmers are essentially leasing the brain of the machine while owning the body. This gives the company immense power over their customers, with the ability to limit, revoke, or charge for access to essential functions. This isn't just bad for individual farmers, it's dangerous for the entire food system. When a single corporation can throttle who gets to harvest, when and how, it creates a fragile supply chain vulnerable to failure, exploitation, or price manipulation. Some critics compare it to a form of digital serfdom, where farmers are dependent on the landlord, Deere, for every action on their land. In the age of TikTok and Twitter, frustration doesn't stay on the farm, it explodes online. Farmers have taken to social media platforms to document their struggles, share repair horror stories, and call for a boycott of John Deere products. Hashtags like #Juach Right to Repair, #Juach Boycott John Deere, and #Juach Greengate have gained significant traction. Viral videos show locked screens, outrageous repair bills, and heartfelt pleas for reform. This digital exposure has created a groundswell of public support, bridging the gap between rural farmers and urban tech-savvy audiences. Suddenly, young people in cities are learning about the battle over tractor software and taking sides. Social media has become the great equalizer in this fight, amplifying the voices of those who've been ignored for years. And it's working. Lawmakers are paying attention. Deere's reputation is under scrutiny, and farmers are finding solidarity across borders and industries. Under mounting pressure from lawsuits, legislation, and public backlash, John Deere has recently taken some steps to soften its image. In early 2023, the company announced a Memorandum of Understanding with the American Farm Bureau Federation, pledging to provide more tools and access for farmers to perform some basic repairs. But critics say it's too little, too late. The agreement is non-binding, lacks legal enforcement, and still keeps the most critical diagnostic tools under corporate lock and key. Farmers remain skeptical, calling it a PR move designed to pacify lawmakers rather than solve the root problem. Some argue that Deere is stalling reform by making symbolic gestures while maintaining control. Others believe that only federal legislation can break this monopolistic grip once and for all. As of now, many in the farming community still feel betrayed. And the boycott continues. The backlash isn't just impacting John Deere, it's affecting the entire agricultural machinery ecosystem. Local Deere dealers, often small family-run businesses, are caught in the middle, bearing the brunt of customer anger without having the power to change corporate policy. Some are reporting declining trust and sales, while others are diversifying their offerings with more repair-friendly brands like Kubota, New Holland, or AGCO. Meanwhile, independent repair shops are seeing increased demand, though they're often unable to fully serve customers due to software lockouts. At the same time, new companies are emerging to challenge Deere's dominance by building open-source or modular tractors that put control back in the hands of the farmer. The economic fallout is clear. Trust in Deere is declining, and with it, the company's stranglehold on the $50 billion global ag equipment market. We are at a historic crossroads. The outcome of this standoff could shape the future of agriculture for generations. If farmers win, it could lead to a renaissance in rural innovation, where machines are customizable, repairable, and adaptable to the needs of individual farms. If Deere and other corporations maintain control, we could see a future where machines are leased like software, and farmers lose the freedom to manage their own operations. The broader implications stretch beyond agriculture. This is a test case for ownership in the digital age. Do you really own your car, your phone, your appliances, or are you just renting them from the corporation that made them? Farmers are on the front lines of this debate, and their courage to stand up and fight could set the precedent for all of us. The boycott of John Deere isn't just a business dispute, it's a wake-up call. It's about power, control, and the right to fix what you own. It's about rural communities pushing back against a system that no longer works for them. And it's about reminding corporations that loyalty isn't bought. It's earned through trust and respect. Whether you're a farmer, a consumer, or someone who just wants to fix their phone without jumping through corporate hoops, this fight matters. Because if the people who feed the world can't fix their tools, then we've got a much bigger problem on our hands. Thanks for watching. If this story resonated with you, hit that like button, subscribe for more deep dives like this, and leave a comment below. Do you think farmers should have the right to repair their equipment? We want to hear from you. For centuries, farming in America has been built on self-reliance. Farmers didn't wait around for help. They fixed broken axles, rebuilt engines, fabricated parts from scrap. It wasn't just a necessity, it was a point of pride. The barn wasn't just a storage shed, it was a workshop, a laboratory, a lifeline. That culture of mechanical independence helped define rural identity. So when a company like John Deere takes that away, when a tractor becomes a sealed black box instead of a tool you can understand and repair, it strikes a nerve. This isn't just about economics, it's about dignity, heritage, and the erosion of a way of life. Many farmers feel like they've lost not only control over their machines, but a fundamental part of their identity as problem solvers and stewards of the land. The courtroom has become a new battleground in the right to repair. War. Multiple class action lawsuits have been filed against John Deere, alleging that its repair restrictions violate antitrust laws by creating a monopoly over repairs and parts. In some cases, farmers argue that Deere's software policies amount to illegal tying arrangements, forcing them to buy service only from Deere-authorized channels. Meanwhile, states like Colorado, New York, and Minnesota have passed or introduced right-to-repair laws specifically targeting agricultural equipment, aiming to force companies to share diagnostic tools and software. But Deere has powerful lobbying forces behind it, and these legal efforts often get watered down with exemptions or vague language. The fight is complex, technical, and slow-moving, but it's gaining momentum. If one state can hold firm and win, it may set a precedent that will ripple across the country. This issue isn't confined to the United States. Farmers from Canada to Australia to Germany are facing the same restrictions from big equipment manufacturers. In fact, some of the first public pushback came from Eastern Europe, where farmers began hacking their tractors with third-party software just to get through the season. In Australia, drought-stricken farmers have spoken out against the ridiculous costs and delays of waiting for authorized repairs. In Europe, right-to-repair legislation is gaining ground quickly, not just for farm equipment, but for electronics, appliances, and vehicles too. What's happening in the US could set a precedent that inspires reform worldwide, or create a cautionary tale for what happens when corporations push too far. The world is watching, and American farmers are at the center of a global struggle over digital rights and real-world consequences. When official channels fail, people get creative. A quiet revolution is brewing in barns, garages, and forums across the country. Tech-savvy farmers and independent engineers are finding ways around Deere's digital fences. Some are jailbreaking their tractors using leaked Ukrainian firmware. Others are reverse engineering software, creating unofficial diagnostic tools, or collaborating in secret Facebook groups and Discord servers. These digital underground movements are becoming lifelines for farmers in crisis. But they come with legal risks. Deere has used the DMCA, Digital Millennium Copyright Act, to threaten legal action against hackers and repair shops trying to break its digital locks. Still, the resistance grows. And, in a way, it mirrors the original spirit of farming innovation. When systems break, you fix them, by any means necessary. As farmers grow disillusioned with Deere, they're looking elsewhere, and competitors are beginning to capitalize. Brands like Kubota, Fendt, Case IH, and AGCO are marketing themselves as more open, repair-friendly alternatives. Some newer startups are going even further, designing tractors with modular parts, open-source software, and full repair transparency. Monarch Tractor, for example, is building electric, autonomous farming vehicles that promise full digital access for owners. As trust erodes, brand loyalty is fading, and purchasing decisions are shifting. If Deere doesn't adapt, it may lose an entire generation of customers, those who value freedom over tradition. Competitors are watching, and the door is wide open. To be fair, John Deere has made incredible advancements in technology. Their latest machines offer GPS-guided automation, yield mapping, and real-time field data. Their vision for precision agriculture is ambitious. Machines that monitor soil health, detect pests, and even plant seeds with sub-inch accuracy. But here's the catch. All that data, it goes to Deere. Farmers often don't control the information collected on their own fields. It's stored in the cloud, managed by the company, and sometimes even monetized through partnerships or subscription models. Critics argue that Deere's real business model isn't just selling tractors, it's selling access to data and locking customers into recurring revenue streams. What was once a simple mechanical transaction has become a high-tech, high-stakes ecosystem of digital dependence. Zooming out, this story speaks to a much bigger trend in our economy. You buy it, but you don't own it. Whether it's a smartphone, a smart fridge, a Tesla, or a tractor, more and more products come with software that limits what users can do. Manufacturers are transforming one-time purchases into ongoing relationships, with updates, restrictions, subscriptions, and service fees. It's no longer about hardware, it's about control. The John Deere boycott is just one front in a much broader battle over digital property rights. What's at stake isn't just access to tools, it's the very meaning of ownership in the 21st century. Beyond the legal, technical, and economic angles lies a human one: the emotional toll. Farmers are among the most resilient people on the planet, but even they have limits. When you've paid $500,000 for a machine and you can't fix it in the middle of harvest, you don't just lose time or money, you lose control. You feel helpless on your own land. That kind of disempowerment is more than frustrating. It's demoralizing. Farmers describe feeling like they're being treated as renters, not owners. The very idea of independence, the foundation of rural American identity, is being chipped away. Add to that the stress of rising costs, extreme weather, and a volatile global market, and the software lock becomes the final insult, a corporate wall built right into the machines meant to keep them going. For many, the Deere boycott is as much about reclaiming dignity as it is about fixing tractors. This issue is especially pressing for younger farmers, the next generation tasked with taking over an increasingly digitized profession. These young growers are highly educated, often trained in both agronomy and tech, and yet they face a future where their machines are more like iPhones than tools. They can program, diagnose, and innovate, but are legally blocked from doing so. Many say this digital gatekeeping is pushing them away from brands like John Deere and toward open-source agri-tech startups. Others are advocating for a total overhaul of how farming tech is built and owned. What's clear is this: if major manufacturers don't shift, they risk losing not just market share, but the future of farming itself. Because young farmers aren't just boycotting, they're building alternatives. It's easy to villainize big corporations, but what about the small-town dealers who sell and service Deere equipment? Many of them are just as frustrated. They're the ones fielding angry calls, managing repair backlogs, and trying to support customers with limited tools. Some want to help, but are constrained by their own franchise agreements and corporate limitations. Others are quietly pushing back, partnering with independent repair networks or supporting legislative reform. For these dealers, the boycott is a double-edged sword. It threatens their livelihood, but also gives them leverage to demand change from above. They're caught between loyalty to the brand and responsibility to their community, and many are beginning to shift toward the latter. Here's something most people overlook. When farmers can't fix their equipment, it doesn't just affect them, it affects everyone. It delays harvests, it reduces yields, it increases costs that trickle down the food supply chain. And in a world increasingly racked by climate change, supply chain disruptions, and geopolitical instability, food security is a national issue. Equipment downtime during critical windows can have ripple effects across regions, leading to shortages, price hikes, and wasted food. The Deere repair monopoly isn't just a technical inconvenience, it's a threat to food efficiency and resilience. Giving farmers the tools to be self-sufficient is not just good policy, it's a national security imperative. Some experts warn that what John Deere is doing could become the blueprint for other industries. If the public accepts this model, where you can buy a product but can't fix or even fully use it, what stops other companies from doing the same? Imagine automakers locking out diagnostics unless you pay a monthly subscription. Or appliance companies preventing repairs outside their network. We're already seeing signs of this, whether it's Tesla's walled gardens, Apple's repair policies, or even medical device manufacturers locking out hospitals. If Deere wins this fight, it sends a clear message to other corporations. You can turn ownership into a license, and the public will adapt. That's why the outcome of this boycott matters, not just to farmers, but to all of us. One of the most dystopian outcomes of this trend is the rise of subscription-based agriculture. Some companies are already exploring models where software features like GPS guidance, yield prediction, or even full machine operation are locked behind annual fees. You're no longer just buying a tractor. You're buying a subscription to make it useful. And when times get tough, when commodity prices drop or weather destroys your crop, you still have to pay. That turns essential tools into liabilities. In some scenarios, farmers could even be locked out of functionality until payments are made, like Netflix, but for your harvester. Critics are calling this digital rent-seeking, where corporations extract value without adding productivity. This is the future many are fighting to prevent. Despite the rising noise, many politicians have been slow to act, hesitant to challenge powerful corporate lobbies like Deere's, but pressure is building. Farmers are showing up at town halls, activists are testifying before state legislatures. Bipartisan coalitions are forming around right to repair, because this issue cuts across political lines. Rural conservatives and urban progressives alike support the basic idea that you should be able to fix what you own. Some states have passed limited bills, but there's growing demand for national legislation. If Washington steps in with strong rules requiring full access to parts, tools, and software, it could reshape the entire industry. But time is of the essence. With every delay, farmers are left vulnerable, and trust in government erodes just as quickly as trust in Deere. Look at how the auto industry handled this issue. In 2012, Massachusetts passed a landmark automotive right-to-repair law, and shortly after, the major carmakers agreed to a nationwide memorandum ensuring independent repair access that gave mechanics and car owners a level playing field. Why can't the same be done for tractors? Deere says farming equipment is more complex, more safety-sensitive, but critics call that an excuse. If your local garage can work on a Tesla Model Y, why can't a certified mechanic reset a John Deere error code? The automotive precedent proves that industry-wide standards are possible and that consumer pressure works. Farming deserves the same freedom. For decades, John Deere was part of the family. Its hats, jackets, and calendars adorned barns across the country. But something fundamental has changed. Farmers no longer feel like customers, they feel like captives, and that emotional shift has triggered a cultural backlash. Some farmers are scraping off logos, removing decals, and even repainting their machines. Online forums are filled with posts titled, "Never buying green again." This isn't a flash-in-the-pan protest, it's a shift in consciousness. And once a company loses its cultural status in rural America, it's very hard to get it back.